Start by, so this is the decoration part for our third piece. I'm just going to start tearing up different bits of colour paper, tissue paper. Again, this has got quite a leathery look, so it's going to make a nice texture, I think. As soon as you're in the chat, if you want to message and comment, then the chat box is on the left hand side as well, so just bear that in mind. And I hope you're all enjoying the live video too. So I'm just going to tear up a small bit of this deep yellow. And then we're going to go for some more of this yellow, but again, a different material. And it's slightly lighter as well than the other one. And then we're going to go for some orange tissue paper. So that could make some nice different colours, because tissue paper, when you put it over normal paper, then it kind of sees through and the colours start to blend. So that could be really interesting to think about when you're applying your different material. And as well, you don't have to use the materials that I'm using. You know, you could still stick with the painting. If you're enjoying the fork painting or the nail brush painting, then stick with those. But I just thought I'd get out a few more materials just in case people haven't got these at home. And again, if you don't have colour paper, think about pens, or maybe even just make an Easter picture instead. That is totally fine. So I'm going to get my Pritt stick and get each piece of the colour paper, just rub the bottom along the base of the nail, the glue stick, not the nail brush, the glue stick, and then just start filling the area of our chick. And think about, you know, Easter colours, what else you want in your picture. Maybe you want an Easter basket, or maybe you want an Easter egg in there. You know, everyone likes Easter eggs at Easter, so think about something else that you could add in your picture maybe. Now each week for the next 4 or 5 weeks, we're going to be doing Easter crafts, so maybe that could be Easter cards or Easter wreaths or whatever. I do have things planned, but I can't remember off the top of my head what each activity is. So we are going to be covering quite a varied selection. I think we've got Easter egg decorating on the list as well, so that could be really fun to do. So think about all the different colours, so the Easter colours. So when you think of Easter, what do you think of? What colours do you associate with Easter? And maybe you want to incorporate those into your piece that you're doing now. Now this process, this collage process, is a lot longer than a painting process. You know, the other painting pieces took, you know, not a lot of time. So we're just going to make one of the collage ones, just so I can show you some other materials that you could use. So at the moment we've got like tissue paper and then colour paper or colour card. So again, different materials that you could use for this project or activity. Now it might be easy if you just start gluing the actual piece itself. Now that could be quite a quicker and easier way of applying your material. So maybe think about that as well. There we are. So I'm just applying different shades of yellows and oranges, just to make a really nice collage effect. Don't worry if all the edges aren't stuck down, that is fine. So just keep repeating this process. Now Unique Kids did do a little post this morning as well, just to make sure everyone knows that the activity is today instead of tomorrow. So I hope you're all enjoying it. This video, like I said before, will get posted, so as soon as I finish at 11 or just after 11, it will get posted on my art Facebook page, and it's also being recorded for YouTube, so just check out my YouTube channel and then you can see the video on there. So again, you've got a few different ways of accessing it, so don't worry too much if you can't make the live sessions. They always will be recorded, and I've started recording using my camera as well now, so again, don't worry too much if you're not able to join, because I always make a point of recording sessions and whatever so people can watch back after. And if you are making the session, then I hope you're having fun, and I hope it's giving you some new ideas for different materials to use. And yeah, this is something also that you can develop in the next few weeks, as we're going to be focusing on Easter. Now, I finished decorating my Easter chick, and now I've got some googly eyes in this little pot here, and I'm going to use those to act as eyes for my little chick. So each piece that you make as well, maybe you want to name them as well, like I don't know, possibly, or maybe you want to add a background on, or maybe this chick is outside, so you want to add the sky as well. So think about other things that you can add to your piece. And I think I'm going to use either felt or foam for the beak, so either red felt or red foam. So as you can see here, I'm just thinking about different materials that I can use for this activity. I think I'm going to go with some foam. So what we're going to do is just cut a triangle using a pair of scissors. Now, foam is a really light material to use as well, so it is quite nice when you cut into it. So I've got my little beak there. Just going to roll it across the top of the glue stick and then push it onto our piece. So as you can see here, the beak's there, and then we've got the eyes, and we've got some different colours and different materials to make up the body of the chick. Now, I've either got black pipe cleaners or a marker pen that you could use, so I think I'm going to go for a marker pen this time, just to draw the feet on. So as you can see, I'm thinking of different materials that I can use for my piece. So here we go, we've got the collage one, and think about different things that you can add to it as well. So maybe you want different colours or a background. Again, there's different ways to develop it, and we will be looking at different things like Easter craft in the next few weeks. So maybe you want to save these and just keep adding to it, then that is totally okay. Or maybe you want to make them into a card, or an Easter card or something. Again, that is another way that you could develop your piece. Now for the next one, I think we're going to use some sponges. So I've got some sponges here, and we're also going to be using a pastry cutter. Now I'll show you how I'm going to do that. I'm just going to get the largest one I can and cover it in paint. So I'm just going to use a fairly large brush. So maybe anything that you've got plasticky at home that you could use. I'm just going to paint round the bottom of this, just so we will be able to print a line on our piece. And then just slap bang in the middle of the work. Now here we go. Here is our little circle that we've got. Then I'm going to use my sponge and make some different marks. So again, different shades of orange and yellow, and as you do this, the colours will mix together, and also you can then expand your circle a little bit more, so the body is a bit more wider and a bit more fluffier than the pastry cutter. So again, just dabbing the sponge, and again this is just a kid's sponge with a circle bottom, nice and easy. And if you haven't got one, then they are really good to use, so yeah, maybe think about using one. I'm just going to dab it round. Now that is a really nice and easy way to apply your medium or your colour. I'm just going to clean my brush, and then again go for my red for my beak. And then clean the brush again, and I'm going to go for the black. If you are in the group, then just message. If not, then it's totally okay. I appreciate that I have obviously changed the date due to a meeting tomorrow, so you know not everyone can make it, but that's okay because this session is being recorded and then you can watch it back. And hopefully it gives you some new ideas as well. So again, here is my second one using the sponge, and a slightly smaller one this time. So just leave that to dry on the side. Now for my next one, I am going to actually make a bigger one, I think. I've got a lot of paints as well that I can use. Now if you want other ways to decorate, then I have things like glitter glue and glitter. So again, some different materials, but for me, I do quite like working with ready mix paint. So what I will do is just move this card out of the way so you can see a little bit better, and put my glue stick away just so it doesn't dry up. Now I do have some chalks and oil pastels out, so I might come to those later, but for now I'm going to go back to my nail brush actually, because I do quite like using this just to create the circle. So rather than dabbing, you could also drag it. So again, think about different ways to add the yellow to the page. And if it doesn't look quite circular, then just make it a bit wider. Just make sure that you're leaving room at the bottom for the feet as well. And then I'm gonna just add some of the yellow as well. So some light yellow onto my piece. So again, you can see that I'm mixing two different colours. In different ways as well, so it's standing out a bit better. Now if I hold up this, we've got a different approach to making a circle on this A3 card, and then I'm gonna draw my feet on first. So again, plenty of paint on the brush as it is a larger piece that we're working on. I quite like this approach to painting as well, because painting is something that I usually do, but in terms of mark making, as you can see behind me, I run different workshops on a Wednesday, and you've probably seen them as well on Facebook and YouTube. So I do quite like working a lot with ready mix paint and different techniques. Now this activity and this approach is a fairly quick one, so it means that you can produce quite a few pieces and in that space of time, which is great. I'm just going to clean my brush again and then rub the brush in some red, and then we're going to add a beak. Now I do like working on a large scale as well, so this piece is really fun and I hope you're enjoying it as well. Maybe think about either a picture or a poster, so maybe this could just be a large painting and it could just be an Easter poster. So again, think about different things that you can do. And also if you're watching and I don't know, you've got grandkids or children or whatever, then again, if they're at school, which they probably are now, it's a good activity to maybe do at the weekend. So keep sharing these workshops because they do happen every week using this same link. So again, if there's anyone else that you know that would like to join, then yeah, just let them know. Black all over my fingers. I think I need to roll my sleeves up a little bit actually. Alright, so again, here we go. We've got another Easter painting, but a slightly large scale, which I think is quite good, and I do like working on large scale like pieces as I mentioned before. So I'm going to leave that down there. That is actually my favourite one, I think. I'm going to move back to the fork, I think, again, and just see what other marks I can make with that. I do like the lines that it makes as well. So again, think about other things that you can find, you know, maybe around the house or anything, any found objects. Or you could just use a brush. So again, it is really up to you what material you decide to use or what object you decide to print with. because this could be seen as either painting or printing as well. So it's quite a new approach to making a painting, you know, using different materials. So again, maybe think about what else you can use to make a painting besides using a paintbrush like you would expect, and then just see what you come up with and what you can find, because I'll be really interested to see all your ideas and all your pieces as well. Now I know that Faye and Amanda, I don't think could be here with us today. They normally join, so again, if you're watching this on repeat, then I hope you're okay, and if you would like to make one of these pieces, then you're more than welcome as well, because you send us some great things every week as well, which is amazing. Now, if you didn't hear as well, we are starting Easter crafts, so this is the first Easter session that we're doing. So again, I'll look forward to seeing you next week, Faye. And yeah, we'll make some more Easter things, which I know that you enjoy. I know you enjoy using different colours as well, which is great. So as you can see here, I'm just using a lighter yellow and just mixing the light yellow with the dark, just to make some really interesting kind of colour combinations. And another good way to mix it up a bit is maybe adding some white paint, which I do have here, but I haven't actually poured because I do have quite a lot of paint out already. But again, using white paint is a good way. And rather than dabbing with the fork, maybe you could scrape the fork along the surface. So again, a mix of dabbing and scraping could make some really interesting marks. Some new lines as well to look like feathers for the chick. There we are. So once you've got your circle, now this fork approach is taking a bit longer than using a nail brush. So maybe, think about different objects that you could use. And also what you could do is maybe do something like that. So once the paint's on the surface, then make some fluffy bits and actually engrave in the paint that you've already put down. That could work really well. So again, think of new ways to add paint to the surface if you like. Now I feel like I'm in a mark making session, which I guess I kind of am, but remember that the aim of the project or the activity is to make an Easter chick, which is what we're doing. So I'm going to hold up my piece. I think it looks really good, you know, the difference between the white space of the paint and then the different yellows as well on the piece that stand out really well. Now, seeing as my brush is already in the red, I'm going to start by adding my beak on again. So again, this is quite a repetitive process, but again, exploring different techniques to add paint to the surface and also different materials. Now, the next one is my chalk. So I'm going to actually experiment with chalk and oil pastel this time, because it worked really well last week when we made our firework pictures, if you remember. We used chalk and we actually used some black A3 paper, and the chalk stood out really well, and I was really impressed with that. The oil pastel not so much though, but the chalk looked really, really good. So yeah, I was really happy with the pieces that we made. There, so we need our red beak. I'm just going to clean my brush a little bit in the water. Again, dabbing the brush along the edge of the water pot. And then just do like some little circles in the paint just to mix it up so you don't get too much of that water. And then you want the paint right at the end of your brush really. So maybe use like a fine brush, but not too fine. And then you've got some nice dots for the chick if I just hold it up so you can see that. And then we just want the feet, so we're just going to do 2 lines and then some shorter ones at the end as well. This is a nice activity as well, you know, the sun's shining outside, so I actually I'm enjoying this. I mean, I say warm weather, I mean I am fairly warm at home now in comparison to winter. So I think when you're doing art as well and you're doing these workshops and the sun's shining, it just put you in a good mood, which is really good, which is really what we want as well, because these workshops have been running for a year now, and I think everyone just enjoy coming together each week and just making art, especially given, you know, COVID and the uncertainty and the rules and everything. You know, it's a nice way to relax. If I hold up my piece, I do quite like this one actually. I think it's an activity that you can kind of develop as you kind of go along. So maybe start experimenting with some different papers, or maybe you want a collage background, then you want to paint on top. Think about where you can really go with this activity. And if you just want to create some Easter pictures like I am, then that is brilliant. Now already I've got about 6 pieces. I'm gonna keep with my A3 again. For my final one, I think for my final A3 actually, I think I might carry on with the painting one and then move on to the chalk. Now I do also have like a knife here, and then I've got like a small comb. So maybe, I don't know, you could add the comb into the paint. And if I show you what I mean, you can kind of make some different lines. So maybe something like this. I'll just add the paint in. Now you kind of want to push that comb fairly hard down on the surface. But yeah, something like this, and as you can see the paint kind of collects in the middle, but you can kind of see the circle kind of going round, so that is really what we want. Now what I'm going to do is also just add some of the other yellow as well, using a nail brush just to make the piece stand out a bit more, just because the comb produces some really fine lines, but they don't always stand out, and that's really what we want for this activity, for our piece to stand out. Dabbing that paint around the surface, and then I'm going to just do the feet quickly. So again, think about the length of the feet in comparison to the piece as well. So that's kind of something that I've done roughly, and as you can see, every time I'm always painting the feet on. So maybe you could do a collage type foot or something. So again, think about new ways and new materials that you can kind of bring together. And I really hope you're enjoying this new approach to kind of making an Easter painting, and to make a painting in general, doing different materials as well. You know, using different objects to create marks. I hope you're enjoying that. And then again, cleaning my brush just to make sure that I get all of the paint off the end, and then dabbing it and kind of wiping it along the paint pot, and then we'll go with the reds. Now we're wanting obviously our red beak, just kind of in the centre roughly, just under the eyes. There we are. Then if I just hold up quickly what I've made. So I've got, again, another large scale piece using different paints and different ways to apply that paint as well, you know, using a comb or using a nail brush. And I'm just going to put that on the floor because I think that one is done with. And now I'm going to move on to an A4 piece, obviously half the size of what we've just done. And this time I've got some things like different chalks. So as you can see here, all the chalks that I've got. And I've got some oil pastel, which I don't know if I want to use. And this time we're just going to experiment with different techniques in general, whether that's spirals or different ways of applying it again. So again, think about the gestures when you're adding these colours to your piece. I'm just going to get out a mustard, like yellow chalk. And then again, think about if you want to use the point of it or the flat surface of it. So again, the point will obviously make some slightly finer lines. Now what I'm going to do is just make some different size and length strokes of chalk onto the piece. Now chalk is a really good material to blend as well, so maybe think about ways to blend it. And also what colours you want to blend it with. So again, that is something to think about too. I'm just going to add my yellow. So again, think about whether you want to still carry on with the lines or you want to do some spirals like I am. And now I've got another like deep orange that I could apply. So again, just carry on making lines and blending those colours together. And now chalk is one of those materials that does get quite messy, but it looks really good. I do like the effect that chalk has. And then I've got a black just at the bottom here that I can use for the feet. And the eye. And then a red for the beak. So again, this is a really rough sketch in a way, using oil pastels. Oh, well, using chalk, sorry. And I'll just show you what I've made. I do actually prefer using paints, but I thought I would experiment with a few different materials and a few different mediums today. So here is one of my little rough pieces. As you can see, there's a lot more white space than the other works that I've done as well, which is interesting, I think. Now we've got about 10 or 15 minutes left for the activity. I'm going to carry on actually using the paint because I think the paint is working really well. And I think I'm going to carry on using A3 card as well, because I do actually quite like working on large scale pieces like I mentioned before. So we're just going to carry on with that just for the rest of this activity. So again, I do like using the nail brush, so we're going to carry on using that to make our circle, I think. And I think it's really important to really experiment with the materials that you've got. So just think about different colours, new ways of adding them, and I guess different approaches to blending colour. And then also kind of work out roughly where the centre of your piece is and kind of the size of the circle. So as you start making it, just try and make it look more like a circle in a way. So as you can see here, I'm just blending the colours in and just making it look more of a circular kind of form as we get near to the end of it. So again, you're wanting something along the lines of that, and then we're just going to use the red to make our beak. Just apply some more of that red on. And then we're going to clean the brush, and already my water is getting quite dirty, which is okay considering we are nearly at the end. But otherwise I would say maybe think about cleaning the water, you know, every 15 minutes or so, you know, or whenever it starts to get dark or a darker colour. And then here we are, we've got our 4th A3 piece, so think about other materials that you could use. You could use cereal packaging as like a new surface for the activity as well. So again, here is another one that I've just made. And then what I'm doing is just laying them out on the floor actually, just so they can dry. So I'm just going to carry on again with this theme, but this time I think I'm going to drag the paintbrush, drag the nail brush along the surface, so it'll actually make a circle itself. There we are. So something like that. There we are. So just drag along the surface. There we are. And then we're going to create the feet for our Easter chick. So again, as you can see, I'm getting quite abstract with the way I'm adding the colour and the way I'm using my brush as well. So I'm just using like really bold techniques and really large shapes for the piece, which is quite cool and quite fun to do. I'm just checking what time it is. We've got about five minutes or so on the activity. So again, if you've got any comments that you want to add or any pieces, then again, send them in the chat box. Send any photographs or works that you've got to me on Facebook, if that's okay. So we're just going to add some of the red to our piece. And obviously think about the scale as well, you know, the large pieces that you're doing. You want to make the legs, the beak and the eyes slightly bigger, I think. Now for those of you watching on my Facebook channel, obviously you'll be able to see all the videos after, and the same for my YouTube. There is actually on my YouTube a link to my Facebook and to my Instagram, and I actually am running a workshop, a mark making workshop every Wednesday, and we've created these different things here, again using more different techniques like we've just been doing today, but using different objects and focusing solely on different objects, textures and that kind of thing. So if that is your interest and you are interested in doing that, then please join me on a Wednesday starting from 11 till 1. It's like a nice social space where we can discuss different techniques, and it's open to anyone, and you can just join whenever, leave whenever, and just a nice chance to experiment with different techniques and loosen up with art as well. I think it's really important to try new things and try different techniques. So this is a very different approach to painting, and I like to think of it as all connecting using technology, but we're working in different spaces, and in a way we're performing with these materials. Even now in this workshop with the Unique Kids, we're still performing with different materials, and you know, we're being really abstract and everything with our movements when we're creating this work, well, this particular work today, which is really good. Now, as you can see, if I hold it up, you can see the way it's been added to the surface. You can kind of see the motion, you know, when I've scraped around the nail brush, it's created some really nice lines. It looks like something's spinning as well, which is really interesting. Now I think we're going to create one more of those, and then I will have to say bye for today, and then we'll again meet next week. So next week the session will be as usual on Friday, 10 o'clock on Facebook Live. No, today it was only on today due to obviously a meeting that I've got tomorrow. So apologies for that, but I did have to reschedule just for this week. So again, different techniques, whether that's dabbing or scraping the brush around. Think about the scale, think about the size of these marks that you're adding. And then we're going to use the paintbrush for the beak. So again, the beak is kind of like central, like in the middle, using the red paint. But again, what you could always do is wait for it to dry and use a different material if you prefer. And then we're just going to quickly clean the brush. You can see how quick this activity is and how many different pieces and things you can explore with. So maybe in your own time you want to use different materials and different objects rather than forks and nail brushes or whatever. And just let me know as well. Let me know what things you're doing, what things you're creating, and send me some photographs. Today I've been experimenting with different colours and different shades as well. This one is darker orange. We've got a slightly lighter one. So again, experimenting with different materials and different ways of applying those materials. So that is really what I want you to think about. The different materials that you're using, the different surfaces, the different mediums, and yeah, again, the different ways of applying those to your base for your design. And I think it's really interesting as well to experiment with this, but also make a craft like we are doing today. Making Easter pictures, but we're experimenting with different techniques and different materials and different colours, which again is really cool. Now I'm not going to hold all of my pieces up, but I will show you a few. So we've got this one that I've just done now. So again, looking at different scales, and then this is one of my earlier pieces. Again, looks more fluffier with the different lines that I've done. And then I've got a slightly smaller one, just using the nail brush. So again, just experimenting with different scales, different shapes, different colours. And I really hope you've enjoyed the workshop. I'm going to have to say bye for now, as it is near 11. But thank you very much for joining me as well today. And apologies for the changing date as well, changing date and everything. We will be on again next Friday, so I think it's 26th of March. That is going to be our next workshop, and then obviously we'll be starting from Friday again. It's only changed today just due to a meeting tomorrow. But otherwise, Art with Holly workshops every Friday from 10 to 11. And I do send out materials lists and everything to members, as well as putting it on the group and on social media. So there is plenty of ways to access what you need. And I also say the day before, what activity we're going to be making as well. So we are focusing on Easter craft as well for the next few sessions. So just bear that in mind and join to make some really cool things for the house as well. Different Easter decorations and just ways to brighten it up and celebrate Easter. Even though we are in lockdown, you can still join these workshops and have some fun. They're going to be similar to what we did at Christmas, where we focused on just Christmas craft for like 6 or 7 weeks. We're going to be focusing on Easter things this time. So again, join me every Friday from 10 for that as well, on Facebook Live using the same link. But thank you very much for joining me. The video will be saved on Facebook and on YouTube. So again, create at your leisure. And if you've got any questions, just message me and just ask me anything about art or anything like that. But thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next Friday. Bye everyone. Thank you.